First part, okay. All right. So yeah, maybe some of us may not have understood what the second part was asking. Let's just see. So those who missed yesterday's class, please watch the recording as soon as possible. यहाँ पे no Deepak, we aren't. Don't worry. Yeah, so I'll explain what is happening in the second one. So light of wavelength 500 nanometer passes through slits at a separation of 2 millimeters and lands on a screen 6 meters away. This was the same as the first question we had done. जहाँ पे fringe with 1.5 millimeters आया था. Now a slight variation we added to this was we place a slab of thickness 200 nanometer. Okay, so and so slab mu equal to 2 in front of the upper slit and mu equal to 4 and 600 nanometer thick slab in front of the lower slit. Find the location of the central maxima. So the central maxima ka definition. First, let me just quickly show the first one and then I'll explain what the second one meant. तो पहले तो सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा का लोकेशन एग्जैक्टली y इक्वल टू 0 पे था पहले, ओके, बाय सिमेट्री. अब नया पोजीशन ऑफ सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा निकालने के लिए यस सार्थक, तो व्हाट वी नीड टू डू फॉर द न्यू पोजीशन ऑफ द सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा, वी नीड टू जस्ट फाइंड द y कोऑर्डिनेट जहां पे पाथ डिफरेंस 0 है. दैट्स हाउ सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा इज डिफाइंड, इज द पॉइंट जहां पे पाथ डिफरेंस इज 0. सो डेल्टा x का फॉर्मूला, मतलब डेल्टा x क्या क्या है, तो डेल्टा x is basically first of all dy by capital D at any point y. ज्योमेट्री के कारण इतना पार्ट डिफरेंस आता है, dy by capital D, lower minus upper. Continuing that, because of the lower slab, lower minus upper increases by mu minus t. ठीक है, ब्रैकेट में n डाला, implying this is for the lower slab. And similarly for the upper slab, xl minus xu decreases. Okay, because this is for the upper slab, जो basically subtract किया जा रहा है. तो this is mu minus 1t for the upper slab, ये subtract करना. Okay, so this was mentioned on the previous page. Let's plug in the values and let's see what delta x is equal to. So delta x should be 0. So why dy by capital D is not the optical path? Because अच्छा कोई पूछ रहा है sir why dy by capital D is not the optical path difference. यार इसका डेरिवेशन याद है, डेरिवेशन कहाँ से ये वैल्यू आता है. What is dy by capital D? That's the path difference between the lower a and the upper a when you calculate it geometrically. If there are slabs, don't you think that will further change the path difference? If there are no slabs, then that is it. But if there are slabs, तो उसके ऊपर और path difference आ रहा है ना. So when there are slabs, dy by capital D is not enough. dy by capital D is a part of the problem. Geometrically, one is longer than the other. That this guy takes care of. But what about the slabs? The slabs are also affecting the path lengths optically. So वो भी include करना पड़ेगा. Okay. All right. And one of you is asking why is delta x 0? The definition of the central maxima, I mentioned it in 2 places. Central maxima is defined as the point. यहाँ पे ये पढ़ो एक बार. Central maxima or the bright fringe, this may not always be at y equal to 0. It's actually, it will be at a y such that delta x is 0. That is the definition of your central maxima. Is the point जहाँ पे positive path difference नहीं है. There should be no path difference at that point. Yeah, so where were we? So delta x, xl minus xu, I'm just plugging the values. Small d is 2 millimeter, capital D is 6 meters. सब SI में रख रहा हूँ. Mu minus 1 ये lower slab के लिए लिख रहे हैं, तो mu minus 1 4 minus 1 into lower slab का 600 nanometer था, so that's 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 meters. ठीक है, and then upper slab का subtract करना है because we're finding xl minus xu, तो upper slab का जो भी bonus है subtract कर लो. तो upper slab का refractive index minus 1, 2 minus 1 into upper slab का thickness 200 nanometer in SI units is 2 to the power 10 power 2 into 10 to the power minus 7. So this is delta x. To find the central maxima, Note the only unknown is y. So to find the y coordinate जहाँ पे central maxima occur होता है, just equate delta x to 0. उतना ही करना है. That's the definition of central maxima. इसको 0 से equate कर लो. एक बार 0 से equate कर लिया, and then go ahead and solve. So यहाँ पे और solve किया. 2/6 is 1/3. ये 10 power minus 3. 4 minus 1 is 3 into 6, 18. And 2 minus 1, 1 into 2 is 2. 10 power minus 7 कॉमन लेके 18 minus 2 लिखा. यहाँ पे नेक्स्ट स्टेप में 10 power minus 3 and 10 power minus 7 में से 10 power minus 3 सब्ट्रैक्ट मतलब डिवाइड कर लिया, हटा दिया, कैंसिल किया, तो 10 power minus 4 रह गया. So you can see how this is 16 into 10 power minus 4, and when I take it to the other side, it becomes minus 16 into 10 to the power minus 4. And when I cross multiply 3, it becomes minus 48 into 10 to the power minus 4. So this is the location of your central maxima. Millimeters में लिखना है तो minus 4.8 millimeters. Okay, that's the location of the central maxima. तो अभी क्या हुआ क्या है देखो. Basically what we just did over here was page 19. So what have you not understood page 19? We यहाँ तक पहुँचते path difference जो रहेगा, optical path difference, एक geometry के कारण dy by capital D होगा. ठीक है? Remember we are finding xl minus xu. तो फिर इस लैब के कारण mu minus 1t जो एक्स्ट्रा डिस्टेंस गिनते हैं, है ना, एंड बिकॉज ये एक्स्ट्रा डिस्टेंस लोअर रे के खाते में जा रहा है, xl minus xu को ये अकॉर्डिंगली बढ़ाएगा. whereas अपर स्लैब का जो है ना, अपर स्लैब के कारण जो एक्स्ट्रा डिस्टेंस आएगा वो अपर रे के खाते में जाएगा, तो xl minus xu में वो सब्ट्रैक्ट होगा. राइट? So that's it. Those three terms. If you have slabs, then in addition to dy by capital D, you have to add mu minus 1 t if there is a slab in front of the lower slit, and you have to subtract mu minus 1 t if there is a slab in front of the upper slit, because we are finding lower minus upper path difference. समझ में आया? वही किया with values on page 20. Okay. Now I just wanted to show you कि just imagine this कि यहाँ पे, okay, imagine this is our y equal to 0. This is our y equal to 0. And what has happened now because of my glass slabs, my central maxima is shifted down. Central maxima नीचे गया है ना, तो central maxima जब नीचे जा रहा है, consequently can you see that bright है ना, fringe width change नहीं हो रहा है. Fringe width is still capital D lambda by small d. Capital D has not changed, small d has not changed, lambda has not changed. Fringe width is still 1.5 millimeters, जो इसके पहले क्वेश्चन में हमने किया था. So as I move, as my central maxima moves because of the slabs, can you see how subsequent, थोड़ा overlap हो रहा है, but can you see how subsequent fringes are going to end up crossing the central line? Can you see that? So when I say कि my central maxima is at minus 4.8 millimeters, so that's roughly more than 3 fringe widths. 3 fringe widths will be 4.5 millimeters. तो central maxima 3 fringe width से थोड़ा ज़्यादा नीचे जा रहा है. तो can you see कि as ये 1 fringe width नीचे जाता है, वो first fringe has reached the central line. As ये 2 fringe नीचे जाता है, central maxima 2 fringe नीचे जा रहा है, the second fringe has reached the central line. Central maxima 3 fringe नीचे जा रहा है. This is, I hope that can be undone. हाँ ठीक है. तो सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा जब आई थिंक यू गॉट द आइडिया, जब 3 फ्रिंज नीचे जा रहा था, है ना, सो इन दैट केस योर थर्ड मैक्सिमा वाज रीचिंग द सेंट्रल लाइन एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. एज योर सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा इज मूविंग डाउन, द एंटायर फ्रिंज पैटर्न इज मूविंग डाउन. On that note, your question was कि जब central maxima ऐसा नीचे जाके -4.8 मिलीमीटर्स पे लैंड हुआ, तो इस प्रोसेस के दौरान कितने fringes have crossed the central line? That was the question. How many fringes have crossed the central line? So for that, we will see कि अच्छा, my central maxima is at -4.8 millimeters. My fringe width is 1.5 millimeters. Capital D lambda by D निकाल दो. और मैंने डायरेक्टली लिखा बिकॉज यही एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन पेज 18 पे था विद द सेम वैल्यूज, तो वहां पे फ्रिंज विद 1.5 था, है ना. सो 1.5 मिलीमीटर ऐसा फ्रिंज विद निकाल दो. अब देखो यार, सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा इधर लाई कर रहा है, तो किधर कितने और कितने मैक्सिमास y इक्वल टू 0 के नीचे लाई कर रहे हैं वो देखो, और कितने मैक्सिमास. दैट्स अ सिंपल आंसर, simple question, right? If the central maxima is below y equal to 0, how many more maximas are below y equal to 0? Central maxima is at -4.8. -4.8. एक fringe width ऊपर 1.5 millimeters ऊपर, you'll still be at a negative y coordinate. 2 millimeter ऊपर you'll still be at a negative y coordinate. 2 millimeter नहीं, 2 fringe width ऊपर you'll still be at a negative y coordinate. और central maxima से 3 fringe width ऊपर, 3 fringe width ऊपर, 3 fringe width होता है 4.5. -4.8 plus 4.5 is -0.3. You're still at a negative coordinate. So clearly 3 fringes, 3 maximas are below y equal to 0 and above the central maxima, है ना. y equal to 0 और central maxima के बीच में 3 maximas है, 3 maximas है. चौथा maxima, यहाँ से 4 fringe width ऊपर जाओ, 4 fringe width is 6 millimeters. Clearly that is going to be at some positive y coordinate. So the fourth one is above y equal to 0, but the third one is below y equal to 0. Now all of these were actually above y equal to 0 before I placed the slabs. तो slabs डालने के बाद जैसा अपना central maxima नीचे गया, वैसा ही ये 3 fringes नीचे गए. So then these 3 fringes have actually crossed y equal to 0 and have gone from the positive side to the negative side. So these 3 fringes cross the x-axis or cross y equal to 0. Got it? All these fringes were earlier above y equal to 0. But as the central maxima went down, these fringes also went down. Okay? Yes, it's just like moving, it's like moving your screen 4.8 millimeters down. Or it's like moving a scale. It's like moving a scale. So and so distance down. तो वैसे ही है, स्क्रीन नीचे गया या पैटर्न नीचे गया, अकॉर्डिंगली बस देखना था, लॉजिकली सोच के देखो कितने फ्रिंजेस क्रॉस कर रहे हैं. एंड सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा को क्रॉस करना नहीं गिनेंगे, बिकॉज क्रॉसिंग ऑलवेज मीन्स लाइक यू आर ऑन वन साइड एंड देन यू आर ऑन द अदर साइड. सो सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा ऑलरेडी वो लाइन पे था, तो उसका मूवमेंट को टेक्निकली क्रॉसिंग नहीं बोलेंगे. It has moved away from the central line. But how many have crossed the central line from one side to the other? 3. In this process, 3 have crossed the central line. Okay. Any doubt? Did everyone get that? Doubt है तो पूछो. Okay. Let me know if you want me to wait on this slide. Okay, say wait if you want me to wait. Four, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Cool. I guess that means you guys got that. You've understood it. Some more YDSC variations. We'll not exactly practice this one. We have some more variations to practice. But You can just tell you, I mean, this is another kind of variation you may get. I'd given one more homework question. We'll when that's page 24, right? I'll reach there and we'll discuss that as well. Okay, so just keep that on hold. We'll reach page 24 and we'll discuss that. Okay. So page 21, then there was some yeah, so we'll see some more variations. Okay, some more YDSC variations that typically happen. Now there are a lot of questions like this in your HCV. So I'm not going to exactly give a question on this one, but you'll have questions like this in your homework. I'll at least tell you what the idea is. So sometimes you may find that your source, okay, your source is not placed symmetrically with respect to the slits. It'll be quite clear. They'll give you the distances and all of that. It'll be quite evident with the values that the source is not symmetric with respect to the slits. So because of that, what is going to happen? There is already going to be a path difference before light even reaches the slits. All right. The light is coherent at the source. The two rays are coherent at the source. Right. As they move away from the source, accordingly, your phase is going to change. So we are concerned with kitna path difference hai all the way from the source. So for that, the total path difference between these rays by the time it reaches a particular y coordinate, okay, the total path difference, and we'll keep counting it as XL minus XU, lower minus upper. The total path difference may, I will have to take the path difference after the slits as well as the path difference before the slits. And to be consistent, I'll subtract lower minus upper. So lower minus upper path difference before the slits, lower minus upper path difference after the slits. ये दोनों combine करेंगे. तो एक तो after the slits के लिए we have, this is what YDSC is actually about, d sin theta. After the slits, our path difference is d sin theta, and d sin theta is dy by capital D. Okay, तो ये path difference upper. Prithvi, I have not mentioned that yet. Hold on, एक minute. ठीक है, तो upper नहीं, कहाँ पे था यार? After the slits के कारण ये path difference है d sin theta. After the slits के कारण path difference है d sin theta. Lower minus upper. And before the slits के कारण path difference कितना होगा? How much is the lower ray traveling in comparison to the upper ray? How much more is it traveling? So you will just take the lower ray ka length, the upper ray ka length, and you subtract them. B minus A. जितना भी lower travel कर रहा है minus जितना upper travel कर रहा है. It doesn't matter if this is positive or negative. Accordingly, whether if it's positive, it will mean कि lower ray ज़्यादा travel किया सच में before reaching the slits, and if it's negative, it means upper ray ज़्यादा travel किया. That's all fine. But path difference, the difference between this line ka length and the other line ka length is this length minus this length plus this length minus this length. This minus this is B minus A. And this minus this is d sin theta, या dy by capital D. Got it? Very simple stuff. So just add the path difference, include the path difference before the slits. वो भी जोड़ दो. और ज्योमेट्री होगा, मतलब ये 3 लैम्डा, ये 4 लैम्डा, तो ये निकालोगे 5 लैम्डा. ज्योमेट्री बेस्ड सवाल होगा वो. D और A निकाल के तुम सब्ट्रैक्ट करोगे, तो you'll get a path difference before the splits. My only point to remember over here is, even as you find the path difference before the slits, make sure you're always finding lower minus upper. Make sure you're always finding lower minus upper. Because this term, na, d sin theta, is lower minus upper. When you write this as dy by capital D, okay, one of these things, so any particular reason why can't we write a minus b? हाँ, तो तुम अगर देखो, एक तो लॉजिकल सा चीज है कि अगर ये दो लाइन के बीच में तुम्हें डिफरेंस निकालना है, if I just call them as a b c d, do you agree the difference is either you say a minus b plus d minus c, or you say b minus a plus c minus d? It has to be either that, right? Either pura lower A minus upper A, या upper A minus lower A. One of the two, right? You can't mix and match. You can't say difference between the two parts is A minus B plus C minus E. That's rubbish, right? So you have to pick one of the two. Now the reason we are actually sticking with lower minus upper is because ये जो term है D minus E, upper minus lower, is actually minus D sine theta, given that or it's minus dy by d, given that we take our y axis positive in the upward direction. Y upward direction में positive है ना, so upper minus lower technically minus dy by capital D है. Upper minus lower, Gaurav, you're right, these two are the same but they differ with sign. Obviously C minus D cannot be D minus E. One is the negative of the other. They can't be the same. C minus D is not D minus E. एक दूसरे का negative है. Lower minus upper, C minus D, is dy by capital D. This is what we defined. This is what we derived. This is what we derived. dy by capital D is lower minus upper. So upper minus lower, D minus C, definitely iska negative hoga. Now, are you going to remember to write that? Most likely no, right? Most likely if you're going to take upper minus lower, you may mess that up. You may not remember to write that. अपर माइनस लोअर ठीक से लिखने के लिए हो सकता है तुम्हें वाई एक्सिस उल्टा लेना पड़े, डाउनवर्ड को पॉजिटिव मानना पड़े, and these are all a little unconventional. You may forget to do that. That's why, since you are going to take the part difference after the slit as dy by capital D and you're not putting a minus sign there, and since your y axis means upward direction positive, since ये तुम हर बार करोगे, therefore बाकी सारे टर्म्स के लिए एक स्लैब के कारण पार्ट डिफरेंस या स्लिट्स के पहले पार्ट डिफरेंस, बाकी सारे टर्म्स को लोअर माइनस अपर के ही फॉर्म में लिख लो. ओके, बिकॉज यू टेक डेल्टा एक्स एज dy by d and dy by d, I'll have to erase this. dy by d, अरे हाथ धो रहा है. Let me relaunch this. एक सेकेंड ना. Okay. Yeah. So I was saying, because you are going to take part difference after the slits as dy by capital D, by habit you'll always write that. Yeah, that's more conventional, more logical to write it that way. Take your y-axis upward. So because वो चीज तुम dy by capital D लिखोगे या d sin theta लिखोगे, तो बाकी सारे टर्म्स को भी उसी फैशन में लिख लो, लोअर माइनस अपर लिख लो. इसलिए स्लैब्स भी लोअर का पॉजिटिव गिनते हैं, अपर का नेगेटिव गिनते हैं. यहाँ पे भी b minus a जोड़ रहे हैं. ठीक है, that's the idea. I hope that idea has been driven in clearly. All right, and you'll have enough. ये बस एक ज्योमेट्री, मतलब कुछ एक्स्ट्रा कुछ है नहीं इसमें to make a question. एक्स्ट्रा क्या कॉम्प्लिकेशन आ गया, b minus a सब्ट्रैक्ट करके जोड़ना है. तो I mean you guys know addition subtraction, so let's not maybe do a question on this, but you'll have questions of that type in your HCV. But we'll take another variation, another interesting one. Before that, let me know if anyone wants me to wait here. रुकना है क्या? 2-3 ही लाइन था, हो गया शायद, लिख के हो गया. Just count to 10. Anyone says wait, say wait. Fine. Okay. Seems like everyone's done. तो एक दूसरा interesting variation, definitely advanced level के लिए, is they will suddenly say the entire YDSE experiment is performed underwater. अब solve करो. So now this sounds very scary. अरे पूरा चीज पानी के अंदर डाल दिया, अब क्या होगा? Sounds scary, but trust me, it's super simple. ठीक है, there's hardly any complication if the entire experiment is done in a different medium. Why? If the entire experiment is done under water or in some other medium of refractive index mu, then you only have to make two changes, just two changes. Okay, first change you'll have to make is divide the refractive indices of all glass slabs with mu. So if glass slabs are present, सबका refractive index के जगह relative refractive index ले लो. This is one very basic idea in ray optics. If you know how to solve a question using a lens, then you also know how to solve a question if the entire question was if the entire situation scenario was taking place underwater, because the only thing that changes is the refractive index of the lens. Now it's no longer going to be mu, it's going to be mu relative. How do you find mu relative? Lens ka mu by pani ka mu will give you mu relative. Okay, so that's the only thing. When you go inside another medium, all your slabs, glass slabs, etc., all of your lenses वगैरह सबका refractive index को बस पानी के refractive index से divide कर लो तो तुम्हें relative to water refractive index मिल जाएगा, and then it will be as good as a question performed in vacuum. So that is one change. सारे slabs का refractive index note down करते वक्त ही पानी के refractive index से divide कर लो, तो कुछ ज्यादा वो एक बड़ा complication नहीं है. एंड दूसरी बात ये है कि डिवाइड द वेवलेंथ विथ म्यू. So this is what is going to affect the fringe width. Fringe width is capital D lambda by small d, right? So fringe width depends on lambda. Lambda change हो जाएगा. पानी के अंदर जो lambda होगा that will be different from vacuum के अंदर जो lambda है. तो ध्यान से देखो, जब सवाल पानी के अंदर हो रहा है, check which lambda are they giving. Sometimes they may already directly give you lambda of light in water. In that case, you don't have to do anything, but most likely they'll give you lambda of light in air. Then to get the lambda of that particular ray in water, you'll have to divide by mu. Okay? That was what we saw on page number 2. Lambda is inversely proportional to mu. Lambda dash is lambda in vacuum by mu. Okay? So lambda को बस mu से divide कर लो और अपना refractive index को भी mu से divide कर लो, बाकी normal question की तरह solve कर लो. So try this quickly, given that we just discussed the homework question. Light of wavelength 500 nanometer passes through two slits at a separation of 2 millimeters, lands on a screen 6 meters away. I'm deliberately using the same values so that you can look at these questions side by side and see, अच्छा ये डालने के कारण क्या change हुआ, ये डालने के कारण क्या change हुआ. So there's a reason why I'm sticking to the same values, but now the complication is, acha, now a slab. In fact, this is the same as your homework question. It's the same slab. If you look carefully, 200 nanometer mu equal to 2 in front of the upper slit. Another slab of thickness 600 nanometer mu equal to 4 in front of the lower slit. यहाँ तक अभी जो होमवर्क क्वेश्चन डिस्कस किया उसी की तरह है, बट फिर अब इसके ऊपर क्या किया मैंने, इसके ऊपर मैंने the whole experiment is now performed under water. तो whole experiment को अभी suddenly पानी के अंदर डाल दिया, ठीक है, underwater. So now find the location of the central maxima and now find the fringe width. Try कर लो. होमवर्क क्वेश्चन की तरह ही है. अब तक पहला वाला होना चाहिए था. क्या आंसर आ रहा है पहले वाले का? Okay, fine. Take a few more minutes. Poona, your answer is correct. Sonti, that's correct. And as an extra question, you can just think of during this whole experiment is now performed underwater. तो ये situation के बाद जब हमने ये किया, तो now from the previous case, how many lines have crossed the central maxima? पृथ्वी सही है, वो एक्स्ट्रा 8 नहीं आना. एक्स्ट्रा 8 क्यों था? डबल 8 क्यों लिखा है? Because that's a typing mistake है ना. सिंगल 8 होना चाहिए. हाँ, cool. सही है. Discuss एक बार कर लेते हैं. -2.4 isn't right. So just check like what happened, what went wrong. If there's a slight maybe एक silly mistake हुआ होगा. But this is the idea कि now the entire experiment, like before, like the homework question, this is now performed underwater. So water does two things. Water, first of all, changes the refractive indices of all the slabs present. Like the first slab that we had, uska refractive index was 2. What has water done? Water has made that slab's refractive index now as good as 1. कैसे किया? Replace the absolute refractive index with the relative refractive index. The refractive index of the slab relative to water is slab का refractive index by पानी का refractive index. Slab का refractive index 2 था और पानी का refractive index भी 2 था. So when you divide the two, you get 1. And now isn't that logical कि पहले slab का refractive index relatively 1 है? मतलब 1 तो 1, हाँ, no worries, good Sahil. So 1 का refractive index means as good as nothing, right? Vacuum में we don't talk about anything having a refractive index of 1 because vacuum has 1, right? So 1 का refractive index means actually no difference from vacuum. यहाँ पे relative refractive index 1 आ रहा है, मतलब expected था क्योंकि इसका और पानी के बीच में कुछ फर्क नहीं है, दोनों का refractive index 2 है. तो relative to water, this slab is as good as not there. This slab is not going to do anything. light is not going to get refracted when it passes from water to the slab, because both water and the slab have the same refractive index. So I'm just saying why this one makes absolute sense for the first slab. Second slab का refractive index is 4. Relative refractive index is उसका refractive index by पानी का refractive index. तो 4/2. तो फिर second slab का refractive index relatively 2 के तरह है. तो बस क्या किया, सिंपल सी बात है, सारे रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडाइसेस को पानी के रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स यानी कि 2 से डिवाइड किया. Therefore 2 became 1 and 4 became 2. We have a relative refractive indices ready. Similarly wavelength भी change कर सकते हैं, but wavelength actually doesn't make a difference for the first part. Location of central maxima में किधर भी wavelength अपीयर नहीं होता है, सॉरी, हाँ, किधर भी वेवलेंथ अपीयर नहीं होता है. एंड therefore, by the way, those some of you are answering ki ek minute, I'll just, some of you are answering, trying to answer the question I'd asked ki how many bright fringes cross the center, right? How many bright fringes cross the center? So just to clarify, I actually meant ये स्टेज होने के बाद, सेकेंड स्टेज होने के बाद, है ना, यहाँ तक एक क्वेश्चन था जो हमने ऑलरेडी सॉल्व किया है, होमवर्क क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किया है, एंड वी आर लेफ्ट इन अ प्लेस वेयर देयर वर 3 मैक्सिमास अपार्ट फ्रॉम द सेंट्रल बिलो y = 0. तो मैं पूछ रहा था वहां से अब जब हम ये पानी डालेंगे तो इस सिनारियो से और कितने फ्रिंजेस y = 0 को क्रॉस करेंगे. So that was the intent of the question. That was an extra question. ठीक है. So now placing it under water, slabs already डाल दिया था, अब पूरा चीज को पानी के अंदर ले लिया. इस प्रोसेस में स्क्रीन के कितने फ्रिंजेस ऊपर या नीचे जाते हुए y = 0 को क्रॉस करेंगे. Okay, coming back to this solution, so you guys think of that, those who solve the question, you can think of that. फिलहाल coming back to this, xl minus xu, geometrically you already have d sin theta, which we later write as dy by capital T. Okay, we want y, we know small t, we know capital D, that's the bigger picture. Delta x is mu relative minus 1 into t for the lower slab, minus mu relative in minus 1 into t for the upper slab. So that was just me writing out the formula. When we try to plug in the values, mu relative for the lower slab is 4/2 minus 1 into t. T is 600 nanometers, 6 into 10 to the power minus 7. Mu relative minus 1 for the upper slab, which you're ready to subtract, but mu relative itself is 2/2. So that's 1. And when we subtract 1 from it, you know, whatever be the thickness, that second term is going to become 0. Upper slab के कारण कुछ भी shift नहीं आ रहा है. 2/2 minus 1 वो पूरा गायब ही हो रहा है. So then we are left with delta x as dy by capital D plus 4/2 minus 1, which is actually 2 minus 1, 1 into 6 into 10 to the power minus 7. ठीक है, तो ये पूरा चीज 1 है, उसके सामने 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 है. This is delta x. For the central maxima, we just have to equate delta x equal to 0. Delta x को 0 से equate कर लो. ठीक है, डेल्टा x को 0 से इक्वेट कर लो. तो डेल्टा x को 0 से इक्वेट करने में क्या आ जाएगा, ये जो 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 है, नहीं, हाँ, वो टर्म 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 हो गया. ये टर्म small d which is 2 millimeters, y by capital D which is 6 meters हो जाएगा. तो y into 10 to the power minus 3 by 3 is the LHS. Okay, y into 10 to the power minus 3 by 3 is the LHS. And if I take 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 to the other side, दूसरे side पे 0 था, becomes minus 6 into 10 to the power minus 7. Solve it. 3 into 6 minus 18 into 10 to the power minus 4, यानी कि minus 1.8 millimeters आ जाता है y का value. minus 1.8 millimeters आ जाता है y का value. तो पहले actually minus 4.8 millimeters था, अब minus 1.8 millimeters हो गया. So it's as if it's actually shifted 3 millimeters up. Yes, shifted 3 millimeters up. With regards to the fringe width, तुम ऐसा लंबा method से कर सकते हो, but then there's a shortcut as well. Like fringe width actually क्या है, d lambda relative by d, capital D lambda relative by d. So of course you can plug in the values. Capital D lambda relative is lambda by mu of water. So it's d lambda by mu of water by small d. Capital D is 6, lambda is 5 into 10 to the power minus 7, 500 nanometer. Small d is 2 into 10 power minus 3, 2 millimeters. And mu of water is 2. इसको जब solve करोगे 30 by 4 into 10 to the power minus 4, ये आ जाएगा 7.5 into 10 to the power minus 4, ये 0.075 millimeters. Okay, 0.75 millimeters. This is the fringe width. But यहाँ पे I just point out one more thing कि if you look at this d lambda by capital D, d lambda by capital D was actually the initial fringe width. So one thing we can directly see is कि when I place the entire experiment, perform the entire experiment under water, the original fringe width gets divided by mu. The original fringe width just got divided by mu. That's the only change. Fringe width capital D by small d into lambda था, है ना? Capital D small d constant है. तुम lambda को mu से divide करोगे तो fringe width भी mu से ही divide होगा. Lambda आधा हो गया था, fringe width भी आधा हो जाएगा. इसलिए पहले अपना fringe width 1.5 millimeters था same question के लिए, अब 0.75 millimeters आ रहा है. Okay, 0.75 millimeters आ रहा है. Did you get this? This is mu of water. What do you want me to explain? The upper diagram. This diagram. ये diagram समझाना है क्या? Same है, मतलब जो पहले homework question में जो था ना, small d is slit separation. वही है, you have XL and XU and XL respectively. You have these slabs. The entire thing is underwater. That's the only difference. पूरा diagram भी नहीं बनाया, मतलब technically यहाँ पे screen होगा, capital D वगैरह. I've not drawn all of that. But the idea is कि इसमें just like the main thing, हाँ, पानी की वजह से just main चीज जो था, that was mu has changed. So I changed the mu of the glass slabs. The minute you make that change, you can treat it like a question in vacuum, and you can solve from scratch. Okay. By the way, how many maximas lie between central maxima and y equal to 0? Given this is a fringe width, कितने maxima दिखेंगे between central maxima and y equal to 0? Given this is a fringe width. Perfect. 0 और ये वाला है -1.8 पे, तो -1.8 पे एक मैक्सिमा रहेगा, उससे 0.75 ऊपर मतलब -1.05 पे एक मैक्सिमा रहेगा, उससे और 0.75 ऊपर यानी कि -0.3 पे नहीं, या -0.3 पे एक मैक्सिमा रहेगा. ठीक है, I've just added 0.75 का डबल 1.5, तो अभी -0.3 पे मैक्सिमा रहेगा, बट उसमें जब और मैं ऐड करूंगा then it will overshoot, है ना? So now when I further add another 0.75, it will become plus 0.45. So clearly there are only two maximas this time, below the central axis and above our central maxima. And which is why when I asked the question, number of fringes crossing the center, some of you answered 2 because you saw 2 maximas below the center. But would you like to reconsider your answer? Given ki the way I've asked that question, what means is when I take this underwater, तो इसके पहले ग्लास स्लैब्स वगैरह था, तब कुछ तो पैटर्न था, कब तो कुछ तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन था फ्रिंजेस का. अब पानी में इमर्स करने के बाद how many fringes during that process, kitne fringes have ended up crossing the central line? So if the question is framed like that, You need to compare this situation with the situation that was before putting the entire thing underwater. And before putting the entire thing underwater, how many fringes were below the central maxima? Three fringes were below the central maxima. अब पानी में डालने के कारण एक तो fringes have come closer, that's one thing. But पानी में डालने के कारण एक shift भी आया है. अब central maxima -4.8 millimeters पे नहीं है, -1.8 millimeters पे है. And ultimately the scene is such कि how many fringes are above below the center? Now only 2 fringes are below y equal to 0 and above the central maxima. पहले 3 था. That means ये तीसरा वाला क्रॉस कर चुका है ना? That's what it means, right? If only 2 are left below y equal to 0, that means the third one has this time crossed y equal to 0. You got it? Third one has crossed y equal to 0. Third one is over here. That's why there are only, that's why how many cross y equal to 0 during the immersion process? One has crossed y equal to 0. जो लोग 2 बोल रहे थे, you were answering from the very beginning. जब सेंट्रल मैक्सिमा यहाँ था, वहां से कुल मिलके 2 नीचे आया है. But if I do it in a stepwise procedure, पहले मैं slabs डाला, slabs डालने के कारण 3 क्रॉस करके नीचे गए, और बाद में पानी डाला, पानी डालने के कारण 3 में से 1 क्रॉस करके उधर चला गया और इधर 2 रह गए. So the answer would technically be 1. Okay, so it's more than a physics question. It's an English and logic question. It's a comprehension question. You have to comprehend what they are asking. Okay, you have done the English part. There's no, I can't give you a hard and fast rule kya lena hai, kya nahi lena. You have to follow the language and see based on the language like what is being asked. So like right now on 20, what I had done, I had put slabs and I said ye slabs dalne ke baad how many fringes cross the center line. So you said okay, 3 fringes cross the center line. अब उसका कंटिन्यूएशन ये है, मैंने पूरा डिटो क्वेश्चन कॉपी किया, वो करने के बाद आई एम सेइंग नाउ द होल एक्सपेरिमेंट इज परफॉर्म्ड अंडर वाटर, हाउ मेनी फ्रिंजेस है ना. नाउ व्हेन यू आर इमर्सिंग द एंटायर थिंग अंडर वाटर, तब कुछ चेंज होता है. तो अब वो चेंज के वक्त हाउ मेनी फ्रिंजेस क्रॉस द सेंट्रल लाइन ड्यूरिंग दिस चेंज. सो योर आंसर शुड बी 1. Because पहले 3 were below y equal to 0, now only 2 are below y equal to 0. तो एक नीचे से ऊपर चला गया. Yeah, so I mean, there's no hard and fast formula and all for this stuff. All it's again, it's not a physics aspect at all. It's just a logical aspect. So I would just say, you know, for sometimes for these questions, just try to be careful and read and comprehend the question, comprehend what they're asking. Okay. If you guys are comfortable in identifying kitne maximas lie between the center and y equal to 0, then you're in a good place. Like all those who could say ki 2 maximas lie between the center and y equal to 0, okay, you're in a good place. Center is at -1.8, y है ना, so y equal to 0 center के बीच में 1.8 millimeters का gap है और fringe width 0.75 है. So we saw 0.75 into 2 is less than 1.8, but 0.75 into 3 will overshoot 1.8. So therefore we said there were 2 maximas between the center and 1.8. Okay, but comparison to 3 before, that means 1 has crossed the center line. So just be careful for those things. Just read questions carefully and see है ना कौन कितना क्या cross कर रहा है. Any doubt? Was second part मेरा इसमें तो second part यही था कि fringe width निकाल दो. Fringe width का answer is 2, 0.75 millimeters. Yeah, sorry for that. uh yeah, done now with this. um नहीं यश, ऑफ कोर्स नॉट. -1.8 क्या है ये, किस हिसाब से आंसर है? डेल्टा एक्स, ये जब तुम डी साइन थीटा वगैरह लेते हो ना, सो दैट dy by d एंड ऑल, दैट इज y कोऑर्डिनेट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू y इक्वल टू 0. इसमें जो भी y कोऑर्डिनेट फाइनली आ जाता है, दैट इज y कोऑर्डिनेट. इट्स नॉट डिस्प्लेसमेंट बिलो एनी प्रीवियस सेंटर मैक्सिमम. y कोऑर्डिनेट -1.8 मिलीमीटर आया है. मतलब इसके पहले -4.8 पे था, अभी -1.8 पे आया. ओके, ऊपर आ गया अभी, इससे और नीचे नहीं गया, ऊपर आया, -1.8 पे आया, मतलब 3 मिलीमीटर ऊपर गया. ये कोऑर्डिनेट, y कोऑर्डिनेट का आंसर है. कोऑर्डिनेट has been well defined. Y equal to 0 is along the bisector of the slits. All right. Now, okay, this is another interesting variation. Let me just try to conceal the screen quickly. All right. See, so I'm just trying to leave no stone unturned. जो भी possible variation हो सकता है, we're just trying to expose ourselves to that and cover that. ठीक है, इसके ऊपर extra complications will just be geometry based. And I believe 30 questions from the HCV will give you a decent practice of um, all your YDSE variations. In fact, all questions in your HCV, most of them are all about the YDSE. Okay, that's the most important part of the chapter. So the next variation that I want to mention is the effect of slit width. Slit width, okay? Let's not confuse this with slit separation. Slit separation was small d. Slit width is a very uncommon question, rare question, जहाँ पे ये जो स्लिट का साइज है वो चेंज करता है. तो स्लिट का साइज और बाकी चीजों के बीच में क्या संबंध है ना, लाइट के इंटेंसिटी के बीच में क्या संबंध है, we'll see that. So this is what the HCV has said, and sometimes I find certain other books mention otherwise, but let's trust the HCV. That is of course more definitely more credible. Yeah, one very reputed guy from IIT Kanpur. So he says कि slit width का जो effect है, और इसको कुछ derive नहीं किया है, कोई भी book ऐसा ज्यादा इसका कुछ derivation देता नहीं है, they just mention these things. तो इसने HCV example 6 में question दिया, और उस question में he mentions this fact. ठीक है, so I'm pulling it from there, and I would suggest you remember this fact कि when I change the slit width, the amplitude of light passing through the slit is proportional to the slit width. Slit width, amplitude of light passing through a slit is proportional to the slit width. Amplitude, electric field का amplitude slit width के proportional है. And then needless to say, if that is true, then intensity उस amplitude के square के proportional होगा, तो correspondingly intensity slit width के square के proportional होगा. Okay, so if you double or triple, if you triple the slit width, electric field amplitude becomes 3 times, but the intensity becomes 9 times. The intensity passing through that slit becomes 9 times. So that's just something to be aware of. इसको याद देखो, इसको याद करने का, अब ultimately तुम्हें याद करना है. You're not going to really ever derive this. You have to just remember this and use it in a question. याद करने के लिए कुछ भी बकवास लॉजिक बना सकते हो. तो मैं क्या बकवास लॉजिक बनाता हूँ, based on which I never forget. I actually visualize a wave passing through the slit, and then I visualize कि अरे slit का size छोटा क्या, तो wave का size छोटा हो गया. मतलब छोटा क्या हो रहा है डायग्राम में, amplitude छोटा हो रहा है. Right? That helps. I mean, that's okay. Who कहाँ पे proof कुछ करना है? That'll at least help you remember कि अच्छा amplitude reduces. Of course, that's not how a light wave behaves. लाइट वेव ऐसा एक्चुअली पार्टिकल्स ऑसिलेट नहीं कर रहे, वी नो इट्स एन इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का ट्रांसवर्स ऑसिलेशन, बट दिस विल हेल्प यू एटलीस्ट रिमेंबर, ओके बड़ा स्लिट मतलब बड़ा एम्पलीट्यूड, छोटा स्लिट छोटा एम्पलीट्यूड, है ना? So it's like you're limiting the size of the wave, you're causing the wave to shrink in this direction. So if you reduce the slit size, you reduce the amplitude proportionate to the slit size. Once you have that, you can remember intensity is amplitude k square ke proportional to slit width k square ke proportional. Okay, that's the idea. Very important to remember that fact and use it in questions. So let's try one question out. The light waves coming from two slits each have an intensity of I naught. Light waves coming from two slits each have an intensity of I naught. Okay, this is the usual case in your YDSC. The upper slit width is now doubled in size. Find the new intensities of the bright and dark fringes. Upper slit width is now doubled in size. Find the new intensities of the light and dark fringes, bright and dark fringes. Yeah, इसमें I max and I min का formula use करना है. कुछ आ रहा है guys? Yash, I think let me just check. Um, take one more minute. Yash, your answer is correct. Good. Yes, Gaurav, nice. Tab 8%. Huh? Let's see. I mean, let's see if it 30 seconds more. Sonti, that's right. Connecting my tab. Normally, this acts funny if I try writing. But Sonti, तुम्हारा I min गलत है. I max सही था. I min में थोड़ा गड़बड़ हो रहा है. चेक कर लो एक बार. Okay. Yeah, now it's correct. Good. So, um, of course, those who are getting it, please continue. But the idea is very simple. Tanmay, that's right. Great. So original intensities were like I naught and I naught. Okay, and original electric fields you can say were E naught and E naught. This was back when the slit widths were the same. But now if I double the slit width, notice iska double kar raha hu. So if I double the slit width, then इसका इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का एम्पलीट्यूड डबल हो जाएगा एंड इंटेंसिटी इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड के एम्पलीट्यूड के स्क्वायर के प्रोपोर्शनल होने के कारण, क्योंकि इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड डबल हो गया, इंटेंसिटी 4 टाइम्स हो जाएगा. सो राइट नाउ वी आर डीलिंग विद कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ two waves of intensities 4 I naught and I naught. Two waves of intensities 4 I naught and I naught. Okay. Now if you want to see what will happen for a bright fringe, bright fringe is of course a region of constructive interference. You could use one out of two methods. Either if you like, if you know the formula, okay, the formula I said was root I max is root I1 plus root I2. तुम उस formula को use कर सकते हो. तो इसमें आएगा root I max is root 4 I naught, which is 2 root I naught plus root I naught. इनका addition 3 root I naught होगा और स्क्वायर करोगे तो I max 9 I naught आ जाएगा. एक वैसा मेथड होता है and almost in fact exactly the same, but if you are more comfortable working with electric fields just add like vectors. The amplitudes are like vectors. So electric amplitude से काम करना है तो just work with E naught and 2 E naught. उनका max output 3 E naught होगा और 3 E naught की corresponding intensity क्या होगा, तो देखो E naught के लिए I naught, तो 3 E naught के लिए 9 I naught. That's it. So you can add, you can work with the electric field first and then from that get the intensity. You could do the same thing for dark fringe. For the dark fringes, you can use either method. If you use the formula that I'd given, root I min is mod root I1 minus I2. I1 is 4 I naught. I2 is root I naught. I2 is I naught. तो root लेके subtract करोगे तो I'll get 2 root I naught minus root I naught यानी कि 1 root I naught. और square करने पे आएगा I min is I naught. तो एक तो formula से आंसर कर सकते हो. एंड अगर थोड़ा शेकी है, एग्जैक्ट याद नहीं है फॉर्मूला, वो भी डिराइव हो सकता है, बट थोड़ा इफ यू आर नॉट वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट, then sometimes, like I always use this method, I work out the electric fields. So that gives me a more feel, like E minimum is corresponding to root I min, 2 E naught is corresponding to root 4 I naught. But working with electric fields gives me a greater like understanding of what's going on. So I prefer working with electric fields. So minimum electric field, I know if I have 2 E naught and E naught, the minimum I can get out of them is E naught when they exactly cancel out. And E naught ki corresponding, we have already seen intensity is I naught. So iska bhi minimum in electric field E naught hai, the minimum intensity uski corresponding I naught aayega. See? So that's it, 9 I naught and I naught. So this is one last variation जिसमें क्या किया हमने, स्लिट विथ को भी चेंज कर लिया. Okay, any doubt? We'll move on to then the homework question I'd given of using colored light. Sir, to get Imax we could do I2 minus I2. एक तो max के लिए तो there should be no sense of subtraction. I2 minus तो गलत ही है, उसके ऊपर I2 minus I1, that entire notion of combining I1 I2 is wrong. I1 I2 never combines in a simple way to give you Imax. The thing which behaves like a vector is your electric field amplitude, that behaves like a vector. तुम्हें max निकालना है ना, इनको तुम add subtract कर सकते हो as vectors. Like you know, when you add vectors of magnitude E and 2E, the max you can get is 3E, the minimum you can get is E. तो E max E min तुम ऐसा add subtract करके निकाल सकते हो. E max E min निकालने के बाद उसको स्क्वायर कर लो तो I आ जाएगा इन अ वे. ठीक है, I max is not I1 plus I2. I max और I min के मतलब उनके formulas थोड़े अलग हैं, थोड़ा complicated. The formula is actually what I've written over here. Root I max is root I1 plus root I2. ठीक है, and for that you'll have to have a look at page. Yeah, so the method in brackets, can I explain that? Yeah, so that's this formula on this page. कहाँ पे है यार, मैंने intensity इसके बाद किया था क्या, 9 10, हाँ 10, page 10. ये page 10 पे मैंने, है ना, ये पूरा एक डिस्कोर्स था, तो इंटेंसिटी का ये फॉर्मूला यूज किया, रूट आई मैक्स इज रूट I1 plus I2. इट कम्स फ्रॉम दिस, E max is E1 plus E2, उसमें E को रूट I से रिप्लेस किया तो ये आ जाता है. तो वो फॉर्मूला यूज किया है. I1 को 4 I naught लिया, I2 को I naught लिया और उससे आंसर आ गया. Understood what the second method in brackets was? Second method was a direct formula. First method was using this and then using I is proportional to E square. So both are actually more or less the same. Okay. Did I clear the doubt of whoever asked there? Okay, so if there's no doubt here, then let's discuss this interesting question. ये दिया था कि when white light is used in a YDSE experiment, what color is the central maxima and what will be the color seen right next to it? First thing is central maxima ka color, that should have been easy. The central maxima, actually, this is a sada YDSE, okay? No slabs, nothing else. The central maxima is equidistant from both the slits. In normal YDSE, it's formed at y equal to 0. It's equidistant from both slits. Therefore, by symmetry, there will be no difference at y equal to 0 for any of the colors. All colors reaching the central maxima के लिए xl and xu are the same. तो सारे colors का constructive interference हो रहा है. All colors will interfere constructively. So when all colors are present, the central maxima obviously is going to appear bright white. ठीक है? सबका maxima हो रहा है, so that's going to be definitely a little brighter than everywhere else on the screen, but it's going to be bright because सबका maxima वहीं पे आ रहा है, and सारे colors का आ रहा है, which is why it's going to appear white. Okay? The combination of all the colors, superposition of all the colors. So that was the color of the central maxima. The next thing is, what is the color of the maxima? What is the color observed right next to it? What is the color seen right next to it? Now in this one is tricky. Okay, in this, proceed with caution. In fact, most people get this wrong the first time, and even multiple times. I too would have, I believe I too have gotten it wrong a couple of times. But see, the idea is, क्या है कि इसके आगे, when we start moving away from the central maxima, all colors have different wavelengths, and therefore all colors have different fringe widths. Now you can analyze beforehand and keep कि my red का fringe wavelength is the greatest. My red का fringe width is also therefore the greatest. Red का wavelength is the greatest. Red ka therefore fringe width, because fringe width is directly proportional to lambda, so red ka fringe width is the greatest. Okay, you can get all of that right, but uske baad, now what do we do with that? So how does fringe width determine which color is seen first? Kya ho raha hai? As I move away from the central maxima, okay, violet ka fringe width kam hai, to violet ka maxima jo hoga na, वो रेड के मैक्सिमा के पहले आएगा, बिकॉज वायलेट का फ्रिंज विड्थ कम है. मान लो वायलेट का 2 मिलीमीटर है, रेड का 3 मिलीमीटर है, तो 2 मिलीमीटर के अंदर y इक्वल टू 2 पे वायलेट का मैक्सिमा आ जाएगा, एंड y इक्वल टू 3 पे रेड का मैक्सिमा आ जाएगा. सपोज, ठीक है, सपोज दोस आर द वैल्यूज. सो देन वी वुड बी टेम्प्टेड टू से कि वायलेट इज द फर्स्ट कलर वी सी. क्यों? सबसे पहला जो मैक्सिमा आ रहा है वो वायलेट का आ रहा है. वायलेट हैज द शॉर्टर फ्रिंज विड्थ, so it reaches its maxima sooner. Yeah, the first maxima violet ka hoga, fair enough. But another thing to consider is first minima violet ka hoga. First minima bhi violet ka hoga. Acha, before I further break this down, I hope if you guys were to guess an answer for this, your answer would either be red or violet, है ना? I hope there's no one who thinks कि बीच का कोई value होना चाहिए, green, yellow, blue. I hope you know the answer would have to be one of the extremes. या तो biggest wavelength पहला दिखता है या shortest wavelength पहला दिखता है. It has to be one of the extremes of the spectrum. So we are naturally expecting the answer to be either red or violet. A lot of people answer violet. A lot of people figure out all of this correctly, and then they answer violet thinking violet ka maxima sabse pehle dikhta hai, so violet is the first color we'll see. It's true, violet ka maxima pehle aata hai, but that's not the first color you see. Why? Violet ka minima bhi sabse pehle aata hai. Therefore violet is like the first color to disappear from the spectrum, and shortly after violet's minima you can see कि बाकी colors का भी minima आ जाएगा. So violet के minima के बाद you'll have, you know, blue का minima, then here somewhere here you'll have green का minima, and then somewhere उसके आगे you'll have yellow का minima. So subsequently, and then finally you'll have red का minima. So immediately next to violet you're going to have blues minima, greens minima, yellows minima, and so on. So that means green and yellow are also, I mean, they're also about to disappear. I mean, they are significantly or they're comparatively weaker in intensity compared to red, जिसका minima के लिए थोड़ा और distance बाकी है. Green का minima just अब थोड़ी देर आगे आने वाला है, तो green is almost about to disappear. येलो का मिनिमम उससे थोड़ा और देन आगे आने वाला, तो येलो इज ऑल्सो अबाउट टू डिसअपियर, इज मोर देन ग्रीन बट इज लेसर देन रेड, बिकॉज रेड का मिनिमा लास्ट आता है, तो है ना, when these other guys are reaching the minima, red is still more intense than the others, which is why, because violet disappears first and the other colors are going to shortly follow violet, but red is the last to disappear. Therefore, when violet disappears, you have a predominantly reddish shade at this point. Therefore, the first color seen next to the maxima is, it's red and not violet. So that's a little, I mean, good students who figure out all of this still sometimes make a mistake because they're trying to see kiska maxima pehle aayega, but rather you have to see kiska minima pehle nahi aayega, kiska minima baad mein aayega. That's the one which is going to appear next to our white fringe. Okay, and that's the idea. इसमें white line में और ऐसा और कुछ ज्यादा कुछ पूछेंगे नहीं, because in itself it's quite complicated. They can sometimes say कि violet का minima पे, violet की कौन से minima पे red का maxima आएगा. So then again that's all game of playing with fringe widths. But remember this one question, this good students get wrong, and sometimes students who mess this up by 2 mistakes they get the right answer. Okay, but good students who get this correctly, they sometimes use this logic to think violet should be the next, but violet isn't the next color that you see, red is the next color that you see. Okay, understood this? This wraps up YDSC for us. Okay, I'm going to give you homework questions, you can practice enough YDSC. Just to tell you what lies ahead. Okay, what we're going to do tomorrow. So what is left in this chapter now is comparatively, less, I mean उसपे comparatively easier questions ही बनेंगे, उसपे ज़्यादा variation नहीं आता है. What is left, because a large chunk of what is now left is from your main syllabus. Okay, a large chunk of what is left is from your main syllabus, and the reason the advanced syllabus has not included this in its portion is because या तो उसपे easy formula based questions बनेगा, या वैसे करने जाओ तो बहुत ही मुश्किल mathematical question बनेगा, है ना. So they were caught between two extremes. They neither wanted to give concepts जिसका derivation ही बहुत ही complex है, nor did they want to give simple formula based questions. So for that reason the advanced doesn't have any of the following topics in its syllabus. But since you guys are giving the mains exam as well, we'll be looking at these topics. They are in the main syllabus, they are easy, you wouldn't want to leave them, they are just formula based. Okay, so just to tell you what we have left, we have single slit diffraction that's left, and then we also have your resolving power of a microscope and telescope, just the formulas. Okay, thoda I will try to explain kahan se derive hota hai, but just the formulas is what is of ultimate importance to us, and that's what we are mainly going to cover tomorrow. So we're going to finish that off, that portion of diffraction, we'll finish it. Uske aage another main topic is, again small stuff, is polarization. वो भी आधा लेक्चर में हो जाएगा, वो भी purely formula based stuff है. You have two laws, and polarization is in fact quite easy and quite interesting, easier to understand than sometimes diffraction. ठीक है, तो वो भी formula based है, वो भी बहुत easy है. And then the last topic I'm keeping is the Huygens principle, which is in your advanced syllabus, but you can't have any numerical questions in it. So I'm thinking like just before your MT, rather than keeping stuff which you will need to practice and solve sums, so the last topic I'll keep is your Huygens principle. वो बस theory बस समझना है ना, what that guy's postulate is, and we'll see, we'll understand the theory well in class, and that's it. There's nothing more you need to read or study about, or nothing you need to practice. उसमें कुछ कोई भी type का numerical सवाल नहीं आ सकता. So we're going to keep that towards the end, but that's in your advanced syllabus. But apart from Huygens principle, your advanced syllabus gets over. Polarization as a topic which will come in your mains exam is only for polarization in um, light. Okay. Polarization cannot take place in sound because sound is not a transverse wave. It could take place in waves on a string, but that will not be, I mean, you what you have in your, what is really studied and made a big deal of is polarization of light. All right, cool. So homework मैं आज देता हूँ. You can start solving it. Let's try to finish it by next. I don't know what your timetable will be like next week, but if it's going to be the same, कि Thursday or Friday lectures hai, then we'll probably meet on Wednesday to discuss the HCV homework doubts if you have any. Right, so please start solving now. ज़्यादा नहीं है. If I'm not wrong, I think you can solve the entire HCV. Yeah, you can just go ahead and solve the. नहीं नहीं नहीं, I'll check. I think कुछ अंत में polarization के questions है तो वो हटाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. I'll send you the homework soon. Okay, bye. Bye.